Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of Sphere of Being. And Sphere of Being is all about caring for those who care for others, because we all need to put our oxygen masks on first. That's what they say in the aircraft safety routine, isn't it? Put your oxygen mask on first, because we need to have enough fuel in the tank to be able to care for others effectively and be the best that we can while we're doing it. And today I've got the most amazing guest. He's a beautiful gentleman, such a professional. He has the most amazing photographic company called Misty Morning Photography, which is a beautiful name in itself. And I'd like to introduce you to Drew Stiles. Welcome.
Thank you, Deborah. It's really appreciated that you invited me to be on your podcast today. What more can I say? It's a really great opportunity for me to be here today.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Drew. It's lovely. And we're looking forward to hearing more about what you do and yeah, the type of person that you are as well, because I know
Mm.
you're a great carer for all the people that you photograph as well. So yeah. And what I'd love to do is just ask you a little bit about yourself and
Sure,
how you got into photography.
that's fine. Yeah, definitely. Well, uh, what can I say? It's one of those challenges. How much do we boost ourselves um, in our personal lives? So, for me, I am Bristol based, and I have grown up in Bristol, so Bristolian born and bred. Spent a little bit of time away from Bristol at various times throughout my life, always on the go. Family holidays often saw us going to Yorkshire and Wales at some variation, so between Pembrokeshire, North Wales, and around. So I guess the being out and about has always been there in my life. So with coming to photography, I was given my first camera when I was about 10 or 11, so we're talking 40 years ago now. So it seems such an age ago, yet it also seems like yesterday, because I remember taking that camera pretty much most places when I thought about it. It was a little film camera, 35 millimeter, that I basically learnt really a lot about a single lens camera. Uh, and a lot of it was hit and miss because as a young person, I didn't have a clue about taking photographs. I didn't know about exposure, about distance, about any of that, uh, especially what it is all about. So it kind of gave me that first insight to cameras and photography, uh, especially back in the day when everything wasn't digital, when you had to have it printed.
And so, David, thank you so much for that, because what I'd love to know is what is it about photography that really sparked your interest?
For me, I think I must have seen a special photo somewhere along the line that really kind of piqued my interest. And it, knowing me, it probably was a photo of an animal. Back in my youth, I was a very keen into horses and riding. So that's possibly where it came in. And I'll share a funny little story, if I may.
Yeah.
That during those days of being on a riding stable, one of the instructors had two dogs, one named Frank, the other named Bruno, after the uh, boxer celebrity, and who's also into mental well-being now since his retirement from the sport industry. Little did I know, some years later, within the last 5, 10 years, that I would actually meet him in person and photograph him.
Wow, how did you manage that? What happened?
That was purely through being in the right area of Pembrokeshire, working alongside of a national art, well, a local art gallery who support veterans in the community in the local Pembrokeshire area. And I got connected with another local charity who booked me for photography for their events. And it was there that they actually invited Frank Bruno to come to be a part of one of their changeover of the committee, so to speak. So they had new members and other things going on that he helped raise money for that event.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. So you got to photograph Frank Bruno, which is a real feather in the cap, isn't it?
It is, and there's been a few others as well in there, but I just felt that was a unique story. Think about it.
Lovely, excellent. And when you're photographing people, when you're caring about the people that you're photographing, what do you do to make people feel at ease? Because it's not everybody's first thing that they run to. I know I'm a bit camera shy, so what do you do?
Well, once we've had an initial discussion about what you want as a individual, whether you're a business owner or just in personal life, then once that chat's had, you've decided this is what you want and what, where, when, how, etc. Then once we meet up on the day, first thing we do is stop for coffee. Just kind of have that sit down and chill out factor. And then we casually make our way as quickly as we can without it being hurried, so that we stay relaxed and enjoy the time that we got in front of us. The next stage is for you to be ready as the individual to make sure that you're in the right outfit, that you've got what you need before we actually start doing. And in that process of you being ready, I have to make myself ready. So that is making sure that where we're going to do the photo shoot is all right for us, that we're going to be safe, that we're going to be well stood within our own balance kind of thing, and also making sure that my cameras are ready, the batteries are powered, the camera is on, that the lenses are attached, all the settings are ready. That's something that I have to think about, whilst I'm also thinking about what I want from you and what you want from you and what you want from me. So it's a two-way thing when it comes to the actor doing the photo shoot. So with that in mind, how I care for you is going, okay, what are the surroundings like? How many people are around us? Are there people around us? If we're in a studio, where are the exits? Where are the facilities, the place to make coffee, refreshment breaks like the toilet area? How many breaks do you need? Do you feel stressed because of something that's already happened in the day? Are you going to need to have an extra break just to chill out? And that's part of the process. So if you say, well, actually, I only want an hour with you, but I would actually say, let's have 2 hours, because you need time to change an outfit. You need time to redo hair, touch up makeup for the ladies, or any of the those within the LGBTQ community that might have a different approach, or that approach in life that, they wear a bit of makeup or whatever life is. And if you've started the morning and someone's stressed you out because of something, okay, well, let's take a bit of time and have that coffee and just wind down. Yeah, let's go for a bit of wander. This is why I like doing natural light, so more outdoor photography with individuals, so that you kind of more in a natural environment, without being indoors. Indoor photography and studio shoots are great, though being outdoors has a different element and feel and vibe, and we all need that time to connect with nature, to be outdoors, to unwind, to look out for ourselves. And if we
Excellent.
can't,
Yeah,
then
no, I
someone
get
else
that.
needs to help us.
Yes, absolutely, Drew. One thing that came across my mind, and thank you, because have you got any tips for anybody with working with the camera of how to look the way that we want, which we know we kind of look like, but sometimes we put ourselves in front of the camera and things don't look great, or the lighting's wrong, or what have you. I know you'd sort that out as a good photographer,
Mm.
but what can you say to people who need to have headshots, who need to have something for work maybe, or that it's a special occasion? What can they do to help work with the camera that really works in that regard, between that relationship and the camera?
I think from my perspective, and I'm sure there will be other photographers who might agree or disagree or have their own opinion to this, but for me, it's just be yourself. Just be natural. If you think, actually, I thought this hat or headscarf was going to work, or neck scarf was going to work, and actually I don't like it, okay, take it off and put it to the side. You might, yeah, there are times when I've worked with a couple of models, as you can see from some of the photos I got on the side, and you may not be able to see the ones behind me, but it's very much, I will say, right, what outfits do you have? Or I might have already seen some of the shots that they've done previously, and I go, I love that outfit. Let's have that, but let's have a mixture of something else that we can have a bit of mix and match. So that, yeah, you might go, well, I've never worn this with that, but I don't know if it's going to work. So bring it with you. Let's try a few shots and see how it goes. I like to be as uh, on the spur, and off the cuff, so to speak. And yeah,
Yeah,
if it
no,
does work, it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't matter. It's not a, yeah. If you
at
think,
least you've
actually,
tried. At least you've
yeah,
tried.
exactly,
So
we
how
can do
can
a
you
couple of
help?
shots that work.
Thank you. Because one of the
Sorry.
things that I know that I kind of get a little bit, I know we're doing loads more selfies now and used to taking
Mm,
pictures, but I'm still of an era where I get a little bit self-conscious in front of the camera.
mm,
So if you're feeling yourself getting self-conscious, have you got any little tricks up your sleeve to help people relax, or breathing, or what can people
mm.
do when they're thinking that, oh yeah, I'm feeling a bit self-conscious now? What is a good
Mm.
tip for people?
Um, Personally, I will always say, just do breathe. That is always a good tip. Take a moment. That is a time to actually just stop, put things down, have a breather, and sometimes, yeah, it is. Some I worked with about a year or so ago. They are very much into a variety of alternative lifestyle, and they teach a particular lifestyle coursing as well. And they would say, okay, we've done a lot of work so far. I need to take 5 minutes just to chill. And they knew from that. And I would follow that kind of pattern, that if you need to stop, or I need to stop and go, right, let's just take 5 minutes, have a wander away, and come back to this in a few minutes if either of us need to do so.
So what you're saying is, don't be afraid if you book the session with Drew, you're there in
Mm,
the studio, you're outside on location or wherever you are, and you're
mm,
thinking, you know what, I need a little break. It's all right to say, look, I just need to chill a bit and just have
yeah,
a bit of a leg stretch, or just to change scenery so that I can get in the right headspace again.
exactly. And very often I will say that, yeah, would you, I stay here, or I'm going to go for a wander over there. You can forget about me and photography for 5 minutes, and we both have that. Yeah, it might be that we've done, for example, another occasion. I got to travel to Oxford, so we were doing a long launch around Oxford along the canals and then around the city. So that's a lot of walking. So, as well as a lot of carrying of heavy outfits, camera bag, etc. So it's good. Okay, we've got back away from the canals. We're in the city. Let's go have a coffee. Now's a good time to have a break.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
and I
And then
always
with,
make sure that
yeah,
we stay focused on that.
perfect. Lovely. Yeah, sounds like you're really tuned in to the way that your clients and the people that you're photographing even,
Yes,
how their feelings matter and where their state of mind is at the time. And yeah, I think that's really
mm,
good. Now, moving on to different types of photography that you do. What other types of photography do you have on offer, Drew?
sure. Obviously, within what I do is the headshot portrait photography for small business owners. I think I mentioned that briefly. I also do event photography, so for charities and the local community. So that can vary anything from a festival to a small parade to you name it, and it gets covered. And it's always nice from my perspective to give back to the community as much as I can. I also do family and pet portraits as well. So if you're a business owner and you want to combine the two, and that's more than achievable, adds to the favour. And I also do a lot of stock photography. Over the years, I've created quite a large stock image, and I've had various suggestions put to me of what I could do with those. And as I've thought about that, things have changed over the last couple of years, to be honest with that. And I've actually created an e-store where people can uh, buy and download those images for whatever purpose. And I also create greeting cards and mounted framed photos from those for any occasion as well.
This is very varied, thank you. And I really like the idea of people and pets. I personally have a little dog called Tilly,
Mm,
and sometimes when you're with your pet, you feel a bit more relaxed, and
mm,
that sort of that warmth comes out, doesn't it? Which is nice.
it does.
They do say never work with children and animals. So with that in mind, um, and you're working with your family, the children, the pets, etc. What do you do to make sure that it doesn't turn into some kind of circus and that you're
Mm,
keeping control of everything?
mm. Well, that's always one of the beauties is that I think sometimes pets can be easier um, because you can get the various pet treats, the doggy treats, the cat treats, etc., just to sort of get them to focus. And sometimes that can be right as well with youngsters as well, but you've got to make sure it's the right kind of treat. Yeah. Um, yes, if mum agrees or dad agrees to an ice cream afterwards or um, whatever the treat might be, but you can only have it once you do what we need to be done. Uh, Briefly with a child, you can say that more than you can with a pet. But sometimes dogs, especially, are great because you've got a treat. They know you got the treat. They can smell it. They may have seen it, and you suddenly get them do something that or look a certain way without any control, without any influence apart from that. And it just happens, and that's the magic of that shot.
Mm,
Um, there's plenty I could go through with that one, but yeah. And children can be the same. Sometimes you get parents who want their daughter to have a photo shoot, and they're only maybe 3 or 4, and they want them to be in a bridesmaid outfit ahead of the wedding, maybe. So that gets organised, but it's just taking maybe, well, that child may only have a half-hour attention span, so let's do half an hour now. Let's break away, and that's a big thing. Yeah,
mm,
is yeah, how good is your attention span, regardless of your age? What's life thrown at you again? Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's very good. And a bit of bribery never goes
exactly,
amiss, does it?
exactly. And
No,
I this
absolutely.
works with adults as well because very often when I've worked with anyone, I say, right, okay, it's hot drink time, especially when it's been kind of like more of a wintry field day. And I go, the drink's on me. What would you like? And they go, I really fancy hot chocolate. Hot chocolate, all the trimmings, let's do it. You watch people go, you sure? Of course, that's what it's about. Bit of
Oh,
TLC.
that's lovely. That's lovely because, as I say, the more relaxed people
Mm,
are, the better the shot. And yeah, you've got the residual nerves, especially if it's somebody who's coming up for a big day, a big celebration like a
mm,
wedding or an anniversary or a milestone birthday. There's a lot of expectation, isn't it? And then they want to get absolutely
yes.
everything perfect. Do you do wedding photography?
I don't specialise in wedding photography, but in the photos that's just behind me, the one that's middle is actually the only wedding that I've done, which was a business acquaintance, and they were going to get married, and then the pandemic happened. So by the time they actually reset the dates and everything, the photographers they wanted were either too busy or up their prices to compensate for the pandemic and other things. So they're like, our budget's not going to be the same way. What we want is going to be different. So we had a lot of discussion. So I will take on a small wedding um, in those circumstances if there's no other choice, for them
Mm,
as much as anything else. Not that I
mm.
won't say yes, it's more sort of like an extra bow to the string.
Yeah,
Is an extra
absolutely.
string to the bow.
To the bow. Yeah, no, absolutely. We get you. We get your gist.
Mm.
And which type of photography do you enjoy the most?
Yeah, I think I've got to be out enjoying a different location that going out and finding places for a shoot that I've not been to before. So if I know that I'm likely to be going, okay, I'm going for a day trip out in Somerset, for example, which is just the next county over. I keep aiming to go to Frome. Not been there yet, but I'm planning to make that the next stop. So it's like, right, let's go see what Frome's about. Let's see what's there. Get my own general opinion of the area. Because if someone in Frome goes, actually, I'm at that stage, but I don't know any photographers, you've just made that right connection. So for
Mm,
me, being out there, doing a bit of research on areas, having a day trip out, and so for me, it's a bit of uh, city landscape and whatever else comes into the throw. So some of that might be nature and wildlife. So it's very much an open ball for me.
yeah. And with regards to technology, because of course it's
Mm,
had a big impact on photography, um, what new technologies are you embracing within your photographic work?
mm. Well, there's always something new that's going to come up. Cameras, obviously, a big part of that, as is computers and software. So I won't go into the technical jargon of all that because, yeah, it could get very long-winded and boring. But for me, I use Canon as my go-to brand of camera. And for the lenses, again, it's very much what feels right. And so it's like I'm a Linux user. I don't use Microsoft or Apple. So there's different software, there's different packages for me to use and learn. So that's a lot of time because there's not manuals for that. So I have to go, right, let's do a bit of research. Let's play with that and figure it out the hard way. Yeah. So
Mm,
uh, there's
yeah.
always something new, or the updates kind of change what you can do, or they take it out and it's no longer available. So you have to find something to replace that with.
Interesting, yes, because I suppose there's a lot of behind the scenes research that goes into it because it's far from straightforward, isn't it? It's not just like it used to be a point and click and that was it. There's a lot more to think about
Yeah,
these days.
definitely. And you saying point and click, that is also part of any aspect of photography that you need to think about angles and everything else. So yeah, having a heavy long lens on isn't going to work necessarily for the right angles when you're wanting close up.
Very interesting. Do you do any motion photography? Anything like birds in flight or galloping horses or anything like that?
Um, I have done, and it's one of those things that, yeah, I'm very, because you have to be very steady, very still, and take the long time. And I'm not the most patient. I'm sure we all can say this, um, but it does take time. And I've got some really great shots from that time. A couple of my favourites has been from swans. Um, I've just heard the sound of them flapping their wings, and I've turned around and just happened to take 3 or 4 shots and gleaned the right shot. Yes, that might be considered the luck of the draw, but at the same time, it's very much about, yeah, just moving yourself like a tripod to get that angle.
Interesting. And what's your view on sort of like the candid shots that you can get? You know, those ones where you're kind of the roving photographer and then you're taking a picture of your uh, the subject material, whether that be a person or an animal or what have you. What do you think about candid photography?
Yeah, candid photography is also a really great topic. There's so many topics in photography, and um, candid and street photography, I like to think go hand in hand. That you're looking for something that's going to catch your eye, and sometimes, especially in today's society, you have to be careful how you do things, especially with a physical camera. As you mentioned previously, there were the selfies. It's so easy just to get your phone out and take a photo, and it doesn't matter. People don't think about that, but when you've got a camera with a lens on, that changes the game. So sometimes I will dare to take the shot first and then go, okay, that's a really great shot. That's what I was looking for. Approach the person and go, hey, introduce myself. I'm Drew, I'm a photographer. I've just taken this shot which includes yourself in it. I hope you don't mind. I thought I'd just show you the photo so you can have a look to see what it looks like. Are you happy for me to keep that and use that and then have that discussion? If they're happy for me to use that, then the question is, do you mind social media? Do you mind just the website? What would you prefer me to do with that? If it's I'd rather you delete it, okay, well, it's a risk I have to take. Yeah. Um, Very often I will approach people and go, do you mind doing a couple of poses for me? Yeah, just to sort of give me something different because their outfit looks great, they look great, and yeah, people feel better when they've been told they're paid that compliment of how well you look.
That's really interesting. But yes, you're quite right. That professional approach to actually ask somebody if they're happy to have
Mm,
that in their image anywhere, then yeah, yeah. No, that's a very, I hadn't actually thought of that, but yes, of course. I mean, it makes a lot of sense
mm,
with regulations and protection and all of that around
yeah.
privacy. So yeah.
Especially here in Bristol, got so many different cultures, different people, and I was actually out in Bristol's sunny Harborside one time, and we got some great water fountain features, which have a different approach. And I just happened to turn around, there was a young one with her little baby who was probably a couple of months old. And I said, you both look great. The baby's obviously enjoying the water. You like a couple of photo shots, yeah, to add to, and you're welcome to a copy of the image. And 3 or 4 shots later, couple of shots of the baby, you could obviously tell mum's holding the baby, and then mum got in close to the baby and added to the whole set. And some people are fine with that. Some people go, yeah, not right now, thank you. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's an opportunity to get yourself out there, to be more visible and looking out for people and going, hey, whether I take a photo of you today or not, that's up to you. but I just want to say you look fantastic. And that's
Oh,
my
that's nice,
way to
isn't
do
it?
things.
Yeah, it's lovely. Now, one of the things again, very caring, Drew, and it's
Mm,
lovely to hear that you have such a heart with your, what the work that you do in your
mm.
business. I'd love to ask you the question, um, what does caring for others mean to you?
Well, for me, caring for others is being very mindful of what others may be going through. And if I can be of help, even if it's just sitting down and having a coffee with someone I didn't even know, that may have made a big point for their day. Yes, that someone's actually taken time out. They don't know you and going, "Are you okay?" Whether they're homeless or whether they're not, there's so much we have lost. I think over the decades since I was a young person, community was so much more, and because community has changed a lot in the last couple of decades, let alone the last 50 years, it's very much made sure that we're all mindful to what's going on. Getting
That's
on and off
lovely.
buses can be also a thing. Yeah, that yeah,
Mm. It's lovely speaking about that and being
mm,
kind to people and thoughtful. That's
mm,
great. And I'm sure that shows up in your work as well, when you're helping your clients and making them
yeah,
feel relaxed and making them know that they're special. So
yeah,
thank you
definitely.
so much, Drew. Thank you. Now, I'm sure there are people out there thinking, oh, yeah, that sounds really interesting. I love what Drew was talking about. Have you got some details of how people can contact you?
Yes, yeah. I'm on most social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you can find me either under my name, Andrew Stiles, which is obviously my full name, though I prefer Drew. I've also got a website which is quite a long-winded one, so I know I gave you some of those details
Yeah, we can
on
put
our
those in the
previous
show
chat.
notes for you, Drew. They're
Yeah, that
absolutely
would
no
be
problem at
great.
all.
But like you, I've got WhatsApp and Messenger, and so yeah, there's easy ways to talk to me and have a chat. Yeah, if you do message me on Facebook Messenger, please just do say a hi, and yeah, that you've come to hear from me from this podcast, just so that we can get a better understanding where you're coming from.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds great, Drew. Well, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you so much for listening to another great episode of Sphere of Being. And I will see you again very soon. Thank you very much indeed. Okay,
Thanks,
bye
Heather.
now. Bye. Bye.